Welcome to Kletzer. Today we're going to look at the topic in the English section, implied meaning. Okay, in this video we're going to look through implied meaning and how to solve these type of sums in the English test. I hope this video is going to be useful for you, and let's head on. Okay, implied meaning. If something is implied, it is understood to be true or to exist, although it is not stated directly. This type of information can be found across all types of texts and purposes. To imply is to hint at something, but to infer is to make an educated guess. The speaker does the implying and the listener does the inferring. Infer is on the receiving end of imply, yet infer is often used to mean imply. To infer is to gather, deduce, or figure out. Imply means to express, suggest, or show something without stating it directly. A friend's gruff manner would imply that she's in a foul mood. Okay, so that's how implying means. And that was just an example. Infer, when you infer something, you read between the lines. To infer is to make a well-informed guess. If you see your mum's bag on the table, you might infer that she's home. One way meaning may be implied is to the author showing and not telling. I think everybody knows show not tell information. The writing technique utilizes descriptive language that allows the reader to experience expository details. This can be seen through actions, sensory details, words, or the expression of characters' emotions, as opposed to the author's own explicit description of events. In short, showing illustrates or implies information, while telling merely states. Okay, so here's a quick example of showing versus telling in creative writing and how one might infer meaning from what is implied. Showing / implying. As his mother switched off the light and left the room, Michael tensed. He huddled under the covers, gripped the sheets, and held his breath as the wind brushed past the curtain. We can infer by this that Michael was scared of the dark. And what they mean by telling was Michael was terribly afraid of the dark. I think you can see the big difference here, like the imagery difference. Like just by saying Michael was terribly afraid of the dark, it's not give like the entertaining, but like let's say at the switch of the light, Michael tensed. He huddled under the covers. Means you get it like it means you're scared. When done right, showing draws readers into the writing with truly immersive description. It contributes to story development and persuasion, but also leaves certain things up to the reader's interpretation, which is much more interesting than making everything explicit. Questions about implied meaning test the reader's ability to read critically for meaning, pay close attention to detail, consider context, and think holistically. An example question. Scientific panel concludes some UFO evidence worthy of study. Wait, just 1 minute, guys. Quickly do something. Yep, I'm back. Okay, let's read it. That was the title. Now let's read it. In the first independent review of UFO phenomena. In the first independent review of UFO phenomena since 1970, a panel of scientists has concluded that some sightings are accompanied by physical evidence that deserves scientific study. But the panel was not convinced that any of this evidence points to a violation of known natural laws or the involvement of an extraterrestrial intelligence. The International Review panel of 9 physical scientists responded to presentations by 8 investigators of UFO reports, who were asked to present their strongest data. Although UFO reports date back 50 years, the information gathered does not prove that either unknown physical processes or alien technologies are implicated. But it does include a sufficient number of intriguing and inexplicable observations. The panel concluded, it may be valuable to carefully evaluate UFO reports to extract information about unusual phenomena currently unknown to science. To be credible to the scientific community, such evaluations must take place with a spirit of objectivity and a willingness to evaluate rival hypotheses that has so far been lacking, it added. The reference website, if you want to see, can. This article it suggests that option A, there is enough scientific evidence to prove that UFOs have existed for more than 50 years. Option B, there's not enough scientific evidence to prove that UFOs have existed for more than 50 years. Option C, due to curious and fascinating sightings, further study must be undertaken without bias or judgment. And option D, due to an increase in curious and fascinating sightings, further study must be undertaken, but only by scientists who have expertise in the field. Okay. So now, if you read it, let's say why it's C and not others. Okay, it's not option A. It's basically it says there's enough scientific evidence, but if you go where it's although UFO reports date back 50 years, the information gathered does not prove that. So it does not prove. That means it does not there's not a lot of evidence. But now also it says have existed for more than 50 years. It says date back 50 years, so it only existed for 50 years, not more than 50 years. So that option A, you can eliminate it. Option B, there's not ever enough scientific evidence. There is scientific evidence. So, I mean, there's not enough. It is kind of true. Sorry, it is kind of true, but the article, it supports the idea that some type of UFO or unidentified flying objects, it has been genuinely observed and deserves scientific study. So, and it concludes that there has been a sufficient number of intriguing and inexplicable observations. So, we also eliminate this because it says have existed more than 50 years, but it is 50 years. So this is also wrong. So if you use elimination, you can cross it out and you can cross this out too. So now you only have C and D. So now, due to curious and fascinating sightings, let's read it later. D. Why is it not D? It is stated that further study must take place. Yeah, it stated that. But there's no specific evidence to suggest an increase. Due to an increase, there's no evidence for increase. It's just saying there's been enough. It does not say anywhere there's an increase. And there's no evidence which says you need more and more studies. There's no evidence, so cross out D. Only option is C, and it's C because it is intriguing and inexplicable. It's similar to curious and fascinating. It says here curious and fascinating, but it also says here intriguing and inexplicable observation. And yep, sightings are the same thing. So there are the same synonym. If you know your vocab, this question might be easy for you. So and if you do that calculation, it's C, because this is first correct here, and it does say it is suggested by the phrase. It is says here, it may be valuable to carefully evaluate UFO reports to extract information about unusual phenomena. So it is there. And you may say, oh, you're repeating the same thing. You said there's no evidence. But here it says there's no evidence that the further study must be undertaken by scientists who have expertise in the field. It says further study must be undertaken. But there's no evidence that only by scientists who have expertise in this field. So that's how. So that's how the answer option is C. And I hope you found this video useful. And bye.